Hey guys, today I'd like to break down one of my favorite supersets for combining strength and mobility training. We are going to stress the hamstrings in their most lengthened position and their most shortened position in this superset. So it's going to be a major hamstring burn. So here we go. We're starting with a B stance Romanian deadlift. Now the set and rep schemes are going to differ depending on your goals, but we're going to do 3 sets today together. We're going to do 8 reps of these B stance Romanian deadlifts. So we need relatively little equipment and not even that much space. So I'm going to be using a kettlebell for today. A dumbbell works fine. You could even do these with a barbell or a trap bar. So I'm using 20 kilo kettlebell. The setup is going to be the leg that we are stressing is the front leg. Make sure that the big toe is inside of the heel. We don't want those toes turning out to the side. We want a nice solid tripod with that foot. That goes for if you're wearing shoes as well. We're gonna place the right leg behind you, but in a smaller stance than a lunge stance. We don't want this big lunge stance here. We want most of your weight on the front leg, and the right leg is just a kickstand. Both legs are going to be straight at the top. This right leg is really extended from the hip, so those glutes are extended. The right heel is going to be up the whole time. Now, same with the right foot. We don't want any external rotation of that leg. We want to keep the heel pointed towards 6 o'clock, and we want to keep the knee pointed straight ahead along with the toes, okay? Hips are square here. Once again, trying not to open. Shoulders are square here. I'm going to show you with no weight first. We're going to reach those hips up and back, softening both knees. And the goal, again, is to lengthen the left hamstrings as much as possible. So we're really reaching back. We want a slight bend of that knee. We don't want to reach too far back where the shin is behind the heel, and we don't want to bend too much where the shin is in front. We want a perpendicular line of that shin, reaching up and back with those hips. And then we're going to drive those feet down into the floor to come up out of it. If you're not feeling much of a hamstring stretch, just keep a softer bend in the knees, so not as much bend in the knees as you go down, and come back up. There are many different ways of performing deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, sumos, all of these variations that target the glutes, but our main focus today is the hamstrings. So we are aiming for that really elongated position of the hamstrings, meaning we're going to hinge as far as we can without bending too much in those knees. So left leg is going to be forward, holding the weight in your opposite hand, the right hand. We're going to hinge those hips up and back, and you can cue that hip with that left hand on the hip. And then we're going to drive those feet down to come back up. Let's inhale to go down and exhale. And yes, even though we are stressing and focusing on the hamstrings more than anything else, we are also going to be using those glutes in this movement. Okay, 4 more. Keep breathing. Last 3. Last 2. And 1 more. And we'll switch sides. So now my right leg is in front. I find that kickstand position with the left leg. I reach up and back with my hips, lengthening that hamstring. I always like to coach a pause at the bottom of the position, especially since we are really trying to stress the hamstrings in their lengthened position with this drill. We don't want to just go in and out of that lengthened position. We want to see how long we can hold it and produce force out of that position. Last 3. 2 more. Make sure that kettlebell doesn't start to drift out in front of you. We want that kettlebell just inside of that right ankle. So now let's work our hamstrings in the shortened version. We're going right away into this drill. You're going to grab onto something nice and stable, and you're going to pull one leg into a quad stretch. So we're bending the knee as far as it will go. This is your hamstring in its most shortened position. This is like your hamstring curl. But we're going to get to our end range, and then we're going to hold that end range. So once we're in this stretch, make sure the right hip is fully extended. Make sure that knee is not reaching out in front of you. The hamstrings also help to extend the hip. So we want to extend as much as possible to get as much hamstring recruitment as possible. Make sure the knee is not pointed out to the side. We want to squeeze those legs together. Then we're slowly going to let go and hold for 10 counts. We're going to try to keep that knee as bent as possible while we hold, engaging the glutes, engaging those hamstrings, as well as the top of the hamstrings, which are helping with that hip extension. Then we're going to grab back on, pull back into that stretch. If this is new for you, cramping is going to be super common. Okay, so just punch it out, shake it out, and get back into it. We're going to let go and hold again for 10 seconds. Try not to let that foot drop away from your hip. Try to keep it as close to the hip as possible. Keep bending that knee. Keep bending for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab back on. Take a deep breath. And let's go one more time. Let go and hold. As you're doing this, also try not to sit out into this supporting hip. You want to pull up nice and tall on that supporting hip. It does make it harder, but we don't want to cheat, essentially. And grab back onto that foot and release. Let's go with the other side. So one side is always going to be easier than the other, especially when we're working at end range. So just notice the difference between the two. We're getting into that quad stretch. Notice that my leg is not poking forward. If it does a little bit, just know that we want to work to keep pushing it back, and over time, we'll gain a little bit more control over that hip extension to get those thighs right next to each other. Let go and hold for 10. Woo. That one kind of jumped away from me, sweating. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab back on, pull back to that knee flexion, standing nice and tall on that right hip. Exhale, let go and hold. When we're doing holds like this, we ideally want to get about 30 seconds total per set on each side. And grab back on. So you could also do 6 reps of 5-second holds, 5 reps of 6-second holds, and let go last time. We're just going right away for those 10-second holds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And grab back on. So then we'll take a rest, and then we'll go right back into our split stance, Romanian deadlift, working back into the lengthening of the hamstrings. Now this will probably feel really nice after those knee flexions, a nice stretch in the hamstrings. And this is what's so great about this kind of superset, is that we are targeting the hamstring in both exercises, but we're targeting different parts of movement in both exercises. So we're really getting a well-rounded hamstring without too much fatigue in those hamstrings muscles. All right, so here we go. Back to our split stance RDL. I'll show you from this angle this time. We're gonna inhale, exhale to come up. Make sure that pause is there at the bottom. I really like this version better than the single leg deadlift because we're able to lift a lot more weight because that back leg is there. It's much easier to shift your weight back into that supporting leg. And so it's just more effective. Single leg deadlift has its purposes, but if we're focusing on strength or hypertrophy, this is going to be one of the best versions. And then we can switch sides. Inhale. Exhale to come on up. Really finding that hamstring length. You could even put your hand on the hamstrings to find that length at the bottom. Keep breathing. And rest. I do like this split stance version better than a bilateral Romanian deadlift version because we are able to target each side individually. Each side might have a different amount of strength, so we're able to really notice those discrepancies and address those as needed, right? That way one side is not compensating for the other side if you were to go into a traditional bilateral Romanian deadlift. So we get back to knee flexion. Whew. So we're finding this stretch. And then you're slowly gonna let go and hold, staying nice and tall on that left side, feeling those hamstrings. 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna grab back on. So mobility work is really important if we are working for hypertrophy, especially. The bigger range of motion that we use, the more muscle tissue we can access. Therefore, the more muscle growth we can achieve. Hold. So this is not only going to be strengthening the hamstring, it's also going to be increasing that end range of motion, and grab back on. So when we get back to a leg curl machine, let's say, we're able to get deeper into that knee flexion. Let go and hold, because we're addressing our mobility work here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let's shake it out and switch sides, going with that left side. I'll show you from this angle. Breathing into that stretch. Nice and tall on that right side. Try not to sink into that right hip. We're gonna let go and hold. You can flex or point the foot here. It doesn't matter, whatever feels good for you. Wherever you can get a deeper contraction of those hamstring muscles. Grab back on. Notice how I don't come out of that position till the very end. So even when we rest from this hold, I grab right back on and pull to my end range, that stretch. 3, 2, 1. Even after the last rep, I pull back to the stretch before I release that tension. Last time, let go and hold. Squeeze those legs together. 3, 2, 1. Grab back on, then release the tension in that leg before we release fully. So let's go through one more set. Show you from this angle this time on that left leg. By this point, we're really feeling the burn in those hamstrings, really rolling along. As I said, you can adjust these sets and reps to your specific needs. It always depends on your level and your goals. One more. Let me switch sides. Whew. Try not to take too much rest between sides. Feel those hamstrings lengthen. And you'll notice which one has a little more strength at that end range as well. My right hip and hamstrings definitely struggle with control over this lengthened version, while they are stronger in the shortened version. My left hamstrings are stronger in the lengthened version, but not as strong in the shortened version. Those are all things to notice as you go through these movements. Let's go to our knee flexion one more time. Finding that stretch. Remember to keep breathing as we let go. Try not to let that foot fall away. It's our last set. Find as much tension as you can. Don't let that leg creep out or in front. Keep bending from the back. 3, 2, 1. Grab back on, pull back into that stretch. If it's really hard for you to grab your foot, you can modify this to doing it lying on the ground. You could even use a towel or a strap to wrap around that foot. Let go and hold, either from the standing or laying down version. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath. Let's go one more time. Exhale, let go. Try not to let it drop. You could also, to progress this, add ankle weights to this movement. 3, 2, 1, especially if hypertrophy is your goal. Left leg. As you exhale, let go and hold. Now, don't just let go. As you hold, you want to try to bend more and more and more and more. Grab back on. Okay, so we're not just going to let go and then let whatever happen. We're going to try to keep pulling up into more and more knee flexion for that entire 10 seconds. Okay, don't let it fall. Keep getting further into it. Don't give up. Grab back on. The nice thing about mobility work is you're always going to get as much out of it as you put into it. Let go and hold. If you just let that leg fall, then it's pointless, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and grab back on. Release the tension and slowly come out of it. So I hope you can give this a try, or if you just gave it a try, I hope your hamstrings feel really nice and worked. Make sure that you rest those hamstrings tomorrow. They'll definitely be feeling it. If you have any questions about this sequence, drop them in the comments below. If you found this helpful, please share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.